At 15, a young athlete lay in a Lisbon hospital undergoing laser heart surgery. He had been diagnosed with tachycardia, a condition where the heart races dangerously fast, even at rest. Doctors used a laser to cauterize the problematic tissue, steadying the rhythm and saving a career before it ever really began. That fragile teenager was Cristiano Ronaldo. Growing up in severe poverty on the isolated volcanic island of Madeira, his family struggled to put food on the table. The situation was so desperate that his mother, Dolores, initially considered terminating her pregnancy. Later, she sold her own jewelry just to afford his first pair of proper football boots. By the time he reached Sporting Lisbon's youth academy, he was treating the pitch as a literal escape hatch from his family's circumstances. His early performance was fueled by a survival mechanism designed to outrun the severe poverty he left behind in Funchal. This volatile, poverty-fueled energy is a high-risk asset. Without a precise architectural framework to guide it, the raw intensity required to escape these circumstances almost always leads to a rapid burnout once the player reaches the professional level. Over in England, Sir Alex Ferguson approached management as an architect of sustainable, long-term dynasties. He prioritized stability and the slow construction of winning systems over acquiring short-term star power. His leadership philosophy relied on active observation and listening. Ferguson spent a great deal of his time watching how players reacted to intense pressure and listening to the assessments of his veterans, looking for the specific psychological drivers that could sustain a decade of performance. He was hunting for an unguided engine, a player with massive internal drive, who was currently operating without a professional framework. This search made a collision with Ronaldo's raw energy inevitable. In August 2003, Manchester United traveled to Portugal for a pre-season friendly against Sporting Lisbon. On the pitch that day was an 18-year-old Ronaldo. Over the first 45 minutes, the teenager systematically dismantled United defender John O'Shea. Ronaldo attacked with such relentless, chaotic footwork that O'Shea famously required an oxygen tank in the dressing room at the break. Watching from the dugout, Ferguson applied his observation principle in real time. He recognized that Ronaldo's survival-based speed was the exact raw material he needed for his system. Ferguson refused to leave the stadium. Right there in the locker room, halfway through a meaningless friendly, he demanded the club executives finalize a deal to sign the teenager before he could even finish the match. This rapid execution locked Ronaldo's raw instinct into an elite master system. The teenager went from a local prospect in Madeira to the center of Ferguson's architectural plan in a single afternoon. Upon arriving in Manchester, Ronaldo encountered Ferguson's smart control formula. The manager utilized strict uniform codes to instill baseline discipline, but he balanced this by selling ideas to the player, convincing Ronaldo that these structures were the only way to realize his own ambitions. To test the boy's mental resilience, Ferguson utilized his veteran players as a physical crucible. In training, Roy Keane was encouraged to deliver punishing tackles to strip away Ronaldo's habits of over-dribbling. Paul Scholes and others continued this pressure. This harsh environment was designed to force Ronaldo into making more efficient, elite decisions on the ball by making his flashy, arrogant mistakes physically painful. Ronaldo responded to this external control by feeding his manic internal obsession. He began sneaking into the training gym alone at night to lift weights and adopted boxing drills to build the power necessary to survive the Premier League's physicality. He also operated as a deliberate ideas thief. Ronaldo systematically studied film of past clinical finishers like Ruud van Nistelrooy and George Best, isolating their specific movements in the box until he had added their efficiency to his own game. This diagram shows the physical result of that obsession. By intensely developing his fast-twitch muscle fibers, Ronaldo achieved a 78-centimeter vertical leap, allowing him to strike the ball at a height of 2.63 meters, surpassing the average jump height found in the NBA. The collision of Ferguson's discipline and Ronaldo's drive created a feedback loop that stripped away every physical and mental inefficiency. He emerged from Manchester with a body and a mindset specifically engineered for the highest level of competition. This forged machine captured 3 Premier League titles and a Champions League for Manchester United before carrying Portugal to a historic European Championship victory. Today, approaching 40 years old, he is using the same survival drive that allowed him to escape Madeira to fight the biological limits of aging. This data dashboard visualizes the rigid metrics controlling his longevity. He maintains his mass exactly 7 pounds under his ideal weight to reduce joint stress and adheres to a post-match recovery protocol of ice baths and thermal regulation with absolute precision. Those 900 career goals and 5 Ballon d'Or trophies are the mathematical result of a system that has been running without interruption for 20 years. Achieving this kind of legendary status requires more than a miracle. It takes a rare intersection of unparalleled internal obsession and a visionary external architecture to guide it.